Hello, dear cadets. Welcome to the presentation on port state control. After this class, you will be able to explain what is a port state control, main purpose of PSC, courses of action of PSCO, which is Port State Control Officer, main criteria for detaining of vessel. So what is a port state control? So port state control was a reaction to the failure of these flag states, especially flag of convenience states, that had delegated their survey and certification responsibilities to different classification societies. So officially, port state control, PSC, please be familiar with this abbreviation, is an inspection regime for countries to inspect foreign registered ships in port other than those of the flag state and take action against ships that are not in compliance with the regulations. So port state control is an inspection of foreign ships in other national ports by PSCO, Port State Control Officers. In other words, you can say inspectors. Inspectors of port state control are called officers, PSC officers, and are required to investigate compliance with the requirements of international conventions, such as SOLAS Convention, MARPOL Convention, STCW, and the MLC, Maritime Labor Convention. Main purpose of PSC is to verify that the competency of the master of the vessel and officers on board and the condition of the ship and its equipment comply with the requirements of international conventions, and that the vessel is manned and operated in compliance with applicable international law. It's very important to make sure that the vessel which is arriving in your state port are safe, manned securely, and comply with regulations. In 1978, a number of European countries agreed in The Hague on the memorandum for the audit of labor conditions on board vessels as to whether they were in accordance with the rules of the International Labour Organization. It was the first step. But after the Amoca Cadiz disaster, when the vessel sank, especially in this year, it was decided to also audit safety and pollution practices. To this end, in 1982, 14 European countries agreed on the Paris Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, on port state control, to establish this organization. Nowadays, 26 European countries and Canada are signatories of Paris MOU. So it took several years, and upon this agreement, port state control was established. Modeled on the Paris MOU frame, several other regional MOUs have been signed, including the Tokyo MOU, which is covering Pacific Ocean, Acuerdo Latino or Acuerdo de Vina del Mar, South and Central America area, and the Caribbean MOU, the Mediterranean MOU, the Indian Ocean MOU, the Abuja MOU, West and Central Atlantic Africa, the Black Sea MOU, and the Riyadh MOU, Persian Gulf. So all these MOUs were created as a model of Paris MOU. Generally, there are not so much differences, but all these memorandums are establishing port state control organization in the area. So on this map you see the countries which are signed for MOUs. So as you see, some countries can be party for not only one memorandum of understanding. So by the color, so blue color is a Paris MOU, red color is a Tokyo MOU, so it's this area covering. So Indian Ocean is green. Australia, for example, is party of the Indian Ocean and Tokyo MOU. Aguerdo de Vina del Mar is yellow color, so this is Central and South America. Caribbean MOU with olive colored, Abuja dark red, here is West Africa. Black Sea and Riyadh MOU colored, accordingly. On this map, you also see once again. So, for example, Russia is party for the Black Sea MOU, Paris MOU, and Tokyo MOU. So it means that this country signed for the memorandums of several memorandums for several areas. During the years, several conventions were held and ratified by the flag states. So, SOLAS Convention, MARPOL, LOADLINE, STCW, International Safety Management Convention, ISPS, and others. After every disaster, more regulations came into force. More regulations, more restrictions, but nevertheless, disasters still happen. It's very unfortunate to say, but it's reality and it's true. If the flag state ratify a convention, like for example, SOLAS Convention or MARPOL Convention, then this has to become their local state law system, legislation system. Flag state inspect according to their regulations. Inspections are often outsourced to a class society. So class society is very important organizations and they have own expertise level and so on. So worldwide there are 50 plus class societies. So and every flag will add their additional regulations. Regions like EU, European Union, will add their own regulations. Class society will add their regulations based on their own expertise. Owner, the company owner, vessel owner will add their regulations too. So there are several levels of regulations, but all of them are taking care about the safety and security of shipping. Classification societies are organizations which develop and apply technical standards for the design, construction, and survey of ships, and which carry out surveys and inspections on board ships. So class societies usually has own set of rules about ship construction, ship equipment, the regulations for maintenance of vessels and inspections. Here you see some symbols and logos of the several class societies. Lloyd Register, DNV, Russian Register, and others. So class has different kind of inspections. So survey for the class, inspection for the flag, audit for the flag. They are of the class societies, they are of immense importance for the maritime industry, since they offer yardsticks for naval safety regulations and cooperation of marine structures based on their respected and the technologically advanced features, aiding in tracking the technological innovations in the maritime sector. Classification societies also help determine whether ecological or environmental considerations have been considered and reflected in the ship's essential features. It's very important to create these rules, to survey these rules, to control and maintain the appropriate level. So, question, who is making control of the regulations? So there are, can be different names. It can be Port State Control Officer, yes, PSCO, inspectors, surveyors, and auditors. So it's, maybe there are some slight differences, but the main goal of their, activity is the same, to check, to control the compliance of vessel, the crew members, the captain, with all regulations. Class surveys survey the ship according to class regulations. Auditors auditing ISM, ISPS, and ISO regulations according to these codes and conventions. So, ship's office, manufacturer of shipyard, and so on. Port State Control Officers will not inspect their own vessels. They will inspect according to convention and region regulations. Inspection of Port State Control. According to SOLAS Convention, every member of IMO with a seaport should have Port State Control Officer. So this is compulsory under the compulsory duty of the country according to the SOLAS Convention. And also this mentioned in ISPS and MARPOL conventions accordingly. The PSC makes inspection of ships in port taken by a Port State Control Officer. So, and they are responsible for the actions to not only check but also act accordingly. So, to prevent in the future some, major disaster or minor incidents. Annual report of Paris MOU reported that a total of 75 almost 1,000 deficiencies were recorded during Port State Control inspections in 2007, which deficiencies resulted in 1,250 detentions that year in 2007. Detention of the ship is the last course of action that the PSCO would take upon finding these deficiencies aboard the vessel. This is last and highest point of action. So, but there are also minor, less important, but also considered as a deficiencies. So deficiencies can be rectified within 14 days for minor infractions. So it's also written. Other specific conditions, deficiencies, can be rectified when the ship arrives at the next port. So the vessel can sail to the next port where this deficiency can be fixed. Yes? This condition can be improved or changed. Deficiencies must be rectified before the ship can depart the port. So it means that the vessel is in condition which cannot be sailed at sea. So, and as we mentioned already, detention of the ship. It's the last and highest level of action of PSCO. So, what are criteria for detaining a ship by PSCO? So, it's a certification of crew. If master or crew members are not certified to sail on certain type of the vessel, it means they cannot operate safely this certain vessel. So, safety condition, maritime security, marine pollution and environmental requirements. So, this is one of the also important point. So working and living condition, operational deficiencies, and deficiencies in the management, according to ISM, International Safety Management Code. PSC requirement upon a detaining a ship. The port state control requires a ship being detained to remedy the deficiencies which caused the detention. So it means the problem should be fixed. If the deficiencies cannot be remedied in the port of inspection, the port state would allow the ship to proceed to another port under the special conditions. The ship becomes free of detention only when all of the fee induced by the inspection and detention is paid by the ship owner. So only in this condition the vessel can leave the port. So, and what we see that the statistic says that there are different level of deficiencies with frequencies. Yes. So lifeboats takes this number. Yes, it's a average yearly. So maintenance of the ship and equipment, ISM related deficiencies. Fire dampers, fire safety measures, emergency fire pump, oil filtering equipment, MARPOL Annex 1. Ventilation, fire safety measures, fire prevention, ventilations, air pipes, casing, load lines, this number. Jacketed piping system for high pressure fuel lines. MFHF radio installation, as we see, it's a less often you can meet, but also it's also under the thorough control of PSCO. Of course, every point is important, and as a ship owner, as a captain, they already know this level of frequencies of these kind of deficiencies, and they have to take an action. So statistics says that the number of detentions is going down generally. Yes, generally going down. What does it mean? It means that the captains and companies, ship owners, they learn from their errors, from their mistakes, from their irresponsible actions. So, and number is going down actually generally. Yes, even though we see some upper point in the last years and on this graph. So modern technology. Modern technology affects all aspects of the maritime industry, and one of the new step is a port state control application, PSC app. Has been created for and to the specifications of the PSC group in Det Norske Veritas, in order to provide customers with a series of checklists to use in preparing for port state control inspections on board their vessels. So it helps and supports the crew members, captains, and company to prepare for port state control. Because again, it's very important to maintain safe and secure sailing. So, why port state control? Why we see the officers' actions? Why we see this organization? Yes. So the main purpose is again to improve owners' vessels level of safety and compliance, prepare for smooth port state control inspections, increase crew awareness and knowledge of PSC focus areas and reduce the human factor affecting the vessel and company port state control performance. Be ready for inspection, be honest, be clear, don't try, to cheat again. So because again, of course, it's nobody likes to be detained or be under the action of port state control. But at the end, we need to understand that port state control acts in purpose, yes. So for the increasing the safety of maritime industry. PSC has become one of the most effective tools to verify if ships comply with international safety, pollution prevention, and working and living regulations. So, ask yourself questions. What was important for you and what was interesting for you? And of course, you can send these questions to me, and I will try to explain more deeply if you have some certain questions, and try to answer my questions. What is port state control? What is the main purpose of PSC? Name different names of control. Name courses of action of PSCO. Name main criteria for detaining of the vessel, and how many class societies there are in worldwide. So if you answer these questions, you will be explained to other cadets or your friends what is port state control. At this point, I finish this presentation. Thank you very much for your attention and good luck.